That's
Exactly.
the trick. People see on the headlines that inflation's coming down. That's spoken everywhere by politicians too. Inflation's coming down. No, it's just going up less.
It's a trick by
going up less.
design. It's a trick by design.
And this shows it right there. Moving on. Okay, where we at? Fed funds.
Fed funds rate. So the market's pricing in, again, this has been the theme, right? Market's pricing in 3 to 4 rate cuts in 2024. It's down from 5 to 6, which you would think would slow the market down. A lot of what's going on with the market is anticipation of rate cuts, but it slows for a second and then it continues forward. So you can kind of see with the Fed funds rate chart. This is the one thing that people should recognize is that where we're at with the Fed funds is we haven't been here in 10 years. I mean, we had a brief period where we were up around 2%, but the 5% rate, 5.25%, I think it's 5.33 right now, is pretty unique, and you have to go all the way back to 2007, I believe, to get back to 5% Fed funds rate.
Well, that's different than what we were seeing at our last roundtable too, and they were still pricing potentially 1 hike or 2 hikes, and then a pause, and now we're talking potential cuts this year. Right.
And then the thing that drives this is inflation, which is at 3 to 3.7% since June of 23. So we're kind of floating in those low to mid threes. It's down from a high of 9.1% in June of 22. So inflation has come back down, but now it's kind of hovering in that 3 to 4%. I know the Fed's target is 2 to 3%. So it's always interesting to see what they're going to do to they're probably not going to cut rates unless you get some problems in the economy, because they're still trying to get that inflation number down.
Check your I-bonds rates. Those are not very high anymore.
What happened to those?
Those are not very high.
Yeah, all that work, $5,000, $10,000, and now they're not paying very well. Yeah. The one thing I did want to show on CPI on inflation is that you see these low numbers like 3%, 3.5%, and Jason mentioned earlier, at least offline, that people think, oh, inflation's come down, well, prices haven't gone up. Well, prices always go up, and the problem with inflation is when you get a big periods of inflation, it's a compounding effect. So you can see that over the last 3 years, different chart there, cumulative CPI, you can see that prices are up 17%. Which is a big deal.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, 17%.
That's what we feel, right? And clients to talk about, well, inflation's coming down. The number went from 3.5 to 3.1 or 3.8. No, it hasn't.
The growth rate is coming down.
That's the trick. People see on the headlines that inflation's coming down. That's spoken everywhere by politicians too. Inflation's coming down. No, it's just going up less.
It's a trick by design. It's a trick by design.
And this shows it right there.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone feels like, well, prices are up 3%. I mean, I could afford a 3%, price increase, but it's that 3 on 3 on 3 on 5 on 9, and then like I said, prices are up 17%. You start penciling out what you're paying for gas, and 17% more, groceries 17% more.
But does a TV cost more?
TV is actually down.
Yeah,
so,
TV's down.
Yeah,
fuel prices over probably a year ago are actually down. There's a few things, but bread's not down.
No, that's the thing. Most of the things when it comes to a grocery store thing, they don't usually come down. Once they raise the price, hey, great, we can get this. We'll keep getting this price, and then they'll raise it. But home prices fluctuate, gas fluctuate.